When it comes to building profitable Adsense websites, the very first step you need to take is to spend some time finding out which niches are actually profitable or have a high potential to earn you money. The way to do this is through keyword research, and this video is going to show you an excellent strategy for doing this. If you already know what niche you'd like to build your first Adsense website around, use this method for that niche. If you're unsure about which niche you'd like to build an Adsense website around, play with what you'll learn in this strategy until you find one that looks like it will be profitable. The first step you want to take is finding out which keyword phrases get searched for most often in any particular niche. To do this, I use the free keyword suggestion tool found here. This tool basically shows which keyword phrases are searched for most often. I found that the numbers they give you aren't very accurate when it comes to actual search volume, so I don't pay too much attention to the numbers they give. I use another free tool for finding these numbers, which I'll get to in a minute. But this tool is still very important in the keyword research process, in that it gives you a general idea of which keyword phrases are searched for most often in any particular niche. For example, let's pick a niche and type it into the query box. Let's try motorcycle. When you do this yourself, make sure you use a general or broad niche term. Don't make it too specific, or this tool won't be of much help to you. Okay, so now we see some of the most popular keyword phrases, or the terms that people search for most often for this niche. What we're going to do now is scroll down through them and see which ones look like they'd have a high potential for many other keyword phrases that would fit into the same category. When we build our site, we're going to want to build as many content-rich pages as possible to help us with our search engine ranking and to help people find our site. Alright, motorcycle parts, maybe. Motorcycle accessories, maybe. Notice I'm skipping over the ones that are too specific or targeted, such as Honda motorcycles, motorcycle helmets, etc. We want to make sure we choose a niche that gives us an opportunity to build many different content-rich pages. Alright, so let's just start with a couple and start making a little list. I use WordPad, but you can use any program you like. It doesn't really matter. I'm going to add one that I like personally. I like motorcycle gear. That pretty much covers all bases of parts and accessories, so we'll try that one and see how that ends up turning out. Okay, so what we're going to want to do now is check out the competition for each of these keyword phrases to see if any of them might be profitable. And to do this, we're simply going to do a search for each of the ones on our list. Alright, so let's go to Google, www.google.com, and in the search box we're going to type the first keyword phrase using quotes. What this does is return the results of only those sites with the exact phrase in them. Otherwise, you'd be getting results that sometimes have nothing to do with that particular keyword phrase. Alright, and it's showing that there's a little bit over 1 million competing sites with that exact phrase, motorcycle parts. Alright, so let's try motorcycle accessories. And then about the same amount, a little bit more than 1 million competing sites with that exact keyword phrase. And finally, we'll try motorcycle gear. Wow, there we go. That one's 367,000. That's about a third of the other two. Alright, so we can go back to our Word file. This is the way I do things. It makes it a little bit easier for me. And you'll pick up your own tricks as you play around with this method for a little while. Alright, so here we got the keyword, competing sites, I usually just give an estimate. Try not to be too exact. Alright. So for these three broad keyword categories or keyword sets, now we have the competing amount of sites in Google search. Now these numbers may seem a little high at first, but once you start doing this more often, you realize that it's really not that bad. Remember this, about 99% or so of these sites weren't created by people with a good knowledge, many times even any knowledge of how to use search engine optimization strategies, which I'll teach you in an upcoming video. So it's very possible to get on the first page of the major search engines, even with this amount of competition. And remember, this is just your main keyword. You're going to build more pages that contain different keywords, most of which will have much less competition. A general rule I normally stick by, and it's definitely not written in stone, is that if there's under 1 million competing sites, I go for it. I've actually had sites with more than 10 million competing sites that have gained first page ranking in less than a month. But we'll start out smaller, as we're just getting started. Once you get your first couple of sites or so built, and they start ranking well, then you can always work your way up to niches with more competition. Anyways, now let's move on to the other free tool I use for my keyword research, the Google Keyword Research tool. To use this tool, you'll need an account with Google AdWords, which is free. If you don't already have an account, you can sign up at adwords.google.com.